Hey, so I'm going to show you guys how to crochet a Calcifer Breakfast Bookmark. And first I'm going to show you guys what we're going to be using. We're going to use a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, a sewing needle, some scissors, and some fluff or some yarn scraps. We're going to start with a red yarn, a yellow yarn for the yoke, a pale pink yarn for the bacon fat, a white yarn, a dark red yarn or maroon, black yarn, and an orange yarn. You'll also need some glue. I had super glue on hand, so that's why I used that. So we're going to start with our first red body, and we're going to start off with a magic ring with 8 single crochet in that ring. So we're going to make our magic ring and chain 1, boop, right there, and single crochet 8 times into that magic ring. Now, you don't have to do the eggs and the bacon. You can just do the calcifer body and the pan. I think it looks totally fine either way. I think both ways are really cute, but I'm going to show you the full way with the eggs and the bacon so you can have that choice. Alright, so we've done our 8 single crochet, and we are going to close our magic ring. Oh, that was hard. And we are going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that we created. Not the chain 1, but the single crochet. There you go. So we're going to chain 1, and row 2 will be an increase round. So we're going to increase 8 times, and that is going to create 16 stitches. Now, I personally don't use a stitch marker on this project because it's kind of just like 2 rounds. And for me, it's really easy to count them. So you can use a stitch marker if you would like, and you would place that into your first single crochet of this row. But I'm not going to do that. So you're not going to see me do that. Because these bodies are just, the red ones are just 3 rounds, so it's pretty easy, and as long as you just count your stitches, you should end up pretty good. Personally, I think it's pretty hard to mess this one up, so I have faith in everybody that tries this without a stitch marker. Alright, so we are slip stitching into that first single crochet, and we are going to chain 1 again, and this is where it's going to be a little different. We are going to do 5 single crochet, be on round 3, and you always start that single crochet in the same stitch where you slip stitched in
This round
1.
is
So
where we're going to introduce something a little different. So we're going to start off with 5 single crochet.
And this is where
we're going to chain 3.
And in the second
chain, we are going to slip stitch.
And
in our third chain, we are going to single crochet. And we are going to go ahead and attach that to our next stitch by single crocheting. And we are going to single crochet one more,
another single crochet,
and then we're going to chain 4.
These are going to be our little flames.
So in the second chain, we're going to slip stitch.
And then
we're going to single crochet.
And in the fourth chain, we are going to half double crochet. We're going to attach that to the next
by single crocheting into the next stitch.
And chain 3.
Immediately chaining 3.
And
so
again,
just like the first time,
into the second chain,
we are going to slip stitch into the second chain and single crochet into the third chain.
And attach that with
to the next stitch with a single crochet.
Be your first single crochet of
and do a
6.
total of 6
1,
single
2,
crochet, including that
3,
attaching single crochet,
4, and so on. 5, 6. All right, and then we will slip stitch.
And then here is where we're going to slip stitch again twice.
Single crochet. And then we're going to cut
and tie off. This is our first red body. We're going to leave a long tail so that way we can sew the 2 red bodies together.
And we are done with our first half.
Taking
now
another
going to make
piece of yarn or anything. We're just taking one big tail
and in row 1
and going all the way around. I think it makes it a lot easier, personally. So we're going to start again on our second red body. So it's going to be the same thing as the first one for a little bit. We're going to chain 1 into our magic ring and do 8 single crochet again.
The first 2 rows are going to be exactly the same. Magic ring, 8 single crochet. Row 2 is an increase row 8 times, giving us 16 stitches. The third row is where it is going to be a little different, so that way we match up when we put the 2 bodies together. So it's just going to be kind of backwards.
To tighten up
so
our
if you
magic
can
ring
remember how to do that, you can totally
and
skip
slip
ahead
stitch into that first single crochet.
Row 3, because it will be exactly the same.
So we will slip stitch
we're going to tighten,
chain 1
and slip stitch into our first single crochet.
Now again, we are going to do an increase round. We're going to increase 8 times, creating 16 stitches.
And chain 1. Alright, so just like I said, we're going to single crochet into that same stitch that we slip stitched and chained 1, and we're going to do an increase row, so 2 single crochet in each stitch, giving us 16. Alright, and we're going to slip stitch into our first single crochet of that row. And chain 1, and this is where it's going to get different. We're going to start with a slip stitch into that same stitch that we chain 1. Chain 1, I don't know if that sounds right, but you get it, right? And then we're gonna do 6 single crochet. Alright, and this is where we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch into that second chain. Single crochet into the third chain and attach that with a single crochet to our next stitch. And then we're going to chain 4 and we're going to slip stitch into the second chain, single crochet into the third chain, and half double crochet into the fourth, and attach that with a single crochet to the next stitch. Do one more single crochet and chain 3. In the second chain, we're going to slip stitch and single crochet and attach that with a single crochet to the next stitch, and that'll be the first single crochet of 5 that you will do. So we will do 4 more right now. Alright, and then we are going to slip stitch and slip stitch again. We're just going to slip stitch into the next following stitch, not into the first slip stitch of the row, into the next stitch. I don't know what I'm doing right here, y'all, don't judge me. It was a little early in the morning when I was doing this. So there we go, I finally figured it out. And then we're gonna cut and tie off. You can also cut a pretty good length if you just want to make sure that you have enough red yarn to attach the 2 halves together. I like to do that just to make sure. That's just me. Alright, so we are going to move on to the orange body, and row 1 will be a magic ring of 8 double crochet. I'm doing a magic ring of 8 double crochet because my orange yarn isn't a weight 4, it is a 3, so it's smaller. So that double crochet is just going to kind of build it up. If you have the same size all around, I think you could just do a single crochet and it wouldn't be as big. I did the double crochet to build it up. If you have all the same size yarn, I personally would go for a single crochet. Alright, so we are going to tighten and slip stitch to our first stitch. Not the first chain that we did, but the first double crochet, or if you're doing single crochet, the first single crochet. Alright, so row 2, chain 1, and 5 single crochet. You always start that single crochet into the stitch where we chain 1. Alright, and chain 2. And in that second chain, we are going to slip stitch. And attach by single crocheting to the next stitch. Do another single crochet. And chain 3. And in the second chain, we're going to slip stitch. In the third chain, we are going to single crochet and attach to the next stitch with a single crochet. And then chain 2 and slip stitch into the second chain. And attach to the next stitch with a single crochet, and that'll be the first single crochet of 6. And obviously I didn't like the way mine turned out, so I'm redoing it. So struggle with me, y'all. Alright, and we will slip stitch into that first single crochet, and we're going to cut and tie off, and we're going to also leave a long tail because we are going to use that to sew the orange body to one of the red bodies. It doesn't matter which one. You're just going to pick one and sew her together. And that's about it. Alright, so we can kind of see where this is going. We just made like a little mini red one in the orange. Okay, so we're going to need our white yarn because we are going to start on our eyes. We're going to do this twice for 2 eyes, but I'm just going to show you once. We are going to make a magic ring, chain 1, and single crochet 8 times into that magic ring. I hope you guys like magic rings because this is obviously full of them. Alright, so we are done and we are going to tighten our magic ring and slip stitch to the first single crochet and then cut and tie off. So you're going to do that again. If you need to rewind it and watch it, go for it if you like to follow along. If not, pause for second eyeball effect. And you don't have to leave a super long tail with this. I know it looks like I did. Probably my mistake, but we're not sewing this to the body. We're going to glue it to the body so you can weave in the ends. And there you go. There's our 2 little eyeballs. That's going to go on our little orange body. and I'm just showing you guys where I wove in. So I wove in the magic ring strands and then left the long ones on the orange and red bodies. Now you're just going to need 2 black strings, about a couple inches long, and you're going to tie 2 knots. And these are going to be the little black parts of the eyes. And we are going to attach them. So I stick my hook right through the middle of the magic ring, and I grab one end and just pull it through. And then we're going to do the other side. So I'm just going to find a little area where I can stick my hook in pretty easy and grab the other end and pull it through. Trying to be careful not to grab any of the white yarn. And then you're just going to tie it on the back. And I like to knot it at least like 3 to 4 times just to make sure that it's going to stay, even though I'm going to be gluing these onto the body. Now, if you want to use little safety eyes, go for it. I think they're cute and it's probably easier. I didn't have any little safety eyes, so I'm just showing you guys a way to do it without safety eyes, especially if you have like little kids and little babies and you don't want them around that. Totally get that. So now we are going to take a red body and an orange body, and I sped this up because I am just sewing the 2 together. I'm just going in on the edges of the orange and going all around and sewing it together. I like to specifically take the little ends of the points and pull them up, and then after you sew it together, you're gonna glue your little eyeballs. Boom, we're starting to get a face. Oh my god. Who let me make tutorials and do voiceovers? I don't know, but I can't take myself seriously right now. This is hilarious. Oh my god. Alright, so I am creating the mouth now. So I just took my needle and I'm just sewing it on there. There's our little mouth. You can choose to do it any way you like, but I just like to do one little one right there. I think it looks cute, like a little smirk, you know? So now I've sped this up because I am just sewing our 2 bodies together. I'm just going from the edges of the single crochets all around. And we're just going to go all the way around. And that's pretty much it. Before we get to the end, we are going to leave a space to put our fluff or our yarn scraps in. You can use either. I've used both. I think it looks just fine either way. I also just like to use my yarn scraps because I feel like I'm not being wasteful. That's just me though. Everybody can do whatever they want, and I think that's totally chill. Alright, so we have left a little space
just enough to get the fluff in your finger and to stuff her in there. And we're going to stuff them up. So use as much or as little as you want. He becomes a lot harder the more fluff or yarn scraps you put in. So if you use less, he's a bit more squishy and malleable. Which personally, I think a squishy bookmark is fun to fidget with when you're reading. If you're someone that has a hard time staying still, there's a little tip for you. I pretty much use most of my bookmarks as little fidgety guys. So we stuffed her up, and we're just going to finish sewing the rest of that body together. And that is pretty much it for that. So same way, nothing different at all. So once you are done sewing it together, I like to take the needle and the leftover yarn and push it all the way through up to the top to kind of, in a sort of way, like weave it in. There we go, I made it through. And then poof, I didn't have a whole lot, so I didn't weave it multiple times, and then just cut the end. And there we go. There is our calcifer body all sewed up and done. Alright, so we are going to use our black yarn now to make our little frying pan. And we are going to start with another magic ring. And we are going to double crochet 15 into our magic ring. So create your magic ring and chain 2. And do your 15 double crochet into the magic ring. Alright, so we have done our 15 double crochet. We're going to tighten our magic ring and slip stitch into the first double crochet. We're going to skip over the 2 chains. So slip stitch,
and we will chain 1. Row 2 is going to be a front post single crochet. So you're going to go around the front post and come back out the other end, grab your yarn and create a single crochet. This is going to cause us to flip up just a bit more drastically, I think, with this front post stitch than as if you were to go for like the front or the back loops. So you're going to go around and do that 15 times. And then we will slip stitch to the first single crochet. So row 3, we are going to chain 1 and just single crochet all the way around. So 15 single crochet. But before we get to the end of our row at our 15th single crochet, we are going to stop. We are not going to attach with a slip stitch. We're going to stop and create our frying pan handle. Alright, so we're there, done our 15 single crochet. We're going to chain 6, and then we're going to slip stitch in the chain starting from the second chain all the way down. Now, I know I'm single crocheting in the video, but after I made it, I didn't like how thick it was. It kind of just looked off. I think with the single crochet, it looks better. So I've made them with the slip stitch. I made them with the single crochet and the slip stitch. I now prefer the way the slip stitch works. So now we're going to attach that by slip stitching into the first single crochet of that row. And then cut and tie off. And then we are done with our little frying pan. So the next bit, I will show you how to make the eggs and the bacon. If you are not doing the eggs and the bacon, skip that part. It does add quite a bit of extra work, so it's totally up to you, because it looks perfectly fine without it. And yeah, we're going to go on to our eggs. Alright, so for our eggs, we are going to use the white yarn, and we're first going to start with another magic ring and put 8 single crochet into our magic ring. So make your magic ring and chain 1 and 8 single crochet now.
Alright, so we got our 8 single crochet. We're going to tighten up our magic ring and slip stitch to our first single crochet. Alright, so we are going to chain 1. You can do this like super random, this row, like whatever you want. So I started with 2 single crochet, a double crochet, half double crochet in the same stitch. Like, I just kind of flowed with it. There's no like rhyme or reason. You just kind of like throw stitches in there, making them look like an egg, like how it just kind of goes out randomly and flows out. So I did put up on there exactly what I did, but you can kind of do whatever you want. Like, it's an egg, Y'all know they don't ever come out the same way twice when you cook them on the stove, and that's kind of like what I do. But I did put it up there if you wanted to follow something specific, which is totally fine too. But like always, whether you're following what I did or you did what you felt like doing, slip stitch to the first single crochet and cut and tie off. Or if you did something that wasn't a single crochet, slip stitch to that first stitch. And then that's about it for your egg. White, technically. So we got to do the yolks, which is super similar to the blacks on the eyes. We're going to take 2 yellow strings. We're going to make 2 knots on that string, one on top of the other. And we're going to attach it the same exact way that we attached the black to our eyes. Just thread them through with the hook, or you can use a needle if you like that better, and then tie them off on the back, because we're just gluing this to the pan, so we don't have to worry about weaving or any of that. But now it's baking time. So you're going to grab your maroon, your dark red, whatever you're using. We're going to switch it up. We get to do a slip knot now. And you're going to do a slip knot and chain 6. Alright, and then we're just going to place 5 single crochet. So starting from the second chain from our hook, and single crochet all the way down, making that 5 single crochet total. And this isn't like make or break for the egg and the bacon, honestly. It's whatever. If you want it smaller, if you want it bigger, although I will say I don't think it'll really fit. It'll be like overflowing. But yeah, but you're going to cut, tie off, and then I just knot the 2 ends together. So I tied off, and then I just knot them together like that. Make it super simple and about as easy peasy as we can now. Alright, so we're going to cut off the ends here, and then we're going to move to the fat part of our bacon. So we're going to grab, I have like a little pale sparkly pink. This is all like scrap yarn, but it came out really cute together. So same thing, slip knot, and then we're going to take that and attach it. So we're going to put our hook through one of the very ends and put it through a single crochet and loop that through to you're going to pull that through your single crochet. You're going to chain 1 and put a single crochet into that same stitch. And do 5 total. I also like to crochet over the tail, because that's how I then tie it together at the end. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to cut and tie off. Thread that through your last loop, and then knot the 2 ends together again. So you can knot them together when you crochet over the little tail, and I think it just makes it a lot easier. So we're going to cut our ends off, and then there's your bacon piece. Alright, so we're going to weave our ends together on the egg and the frying pan, and then attach the yolks. So just like we did with the blacks of the eyes, we're going to take our crochet hook and feed it through, and then pull an end through to the back. And same thing, just find an area where you can kind of put it through. And then tie them together on the back. And I like to do one, tie it together, and then cut the ends, so that way you have one set of ends like out of your way again, to make it easier to like thread everything through and not get kind of all tangled up together and whatnot. Alright, so same thing with your second one. There's an egg yolk, and boop, we're going to speed that up. Boom, done. Anyway, now we're going to glue them with whatever glue you are using. So you want to make sure that you are pushing this to like one far side, so either the left or the right side, or you just want to make sure you're leaving space to fit your bacon in. So you don't want to set the eggs like in directly in the middle. You want to like push them to one side of the frying pan, so that way you have space for your bacon piece as well, because it's a pretty tight fit, especially just depending how you go about that second row on the egg white. So you just want to make sure that you're really pushing that up on one of the farthest sides of the frying pan.
Alright, so we have both ends of our bookmark done. So we're going to grab our red yarn again to make our chain. So you're going to do a slip knot. And then we're going to stick our hook through the top stitch of the middle flame on our little calcifer. So I know I'm kind of going out of frame, sorry. It was a little hard to get into. But you're going to stick it through the top stitch there, thread it through. And I just try to go slow and gentle so I'm not like yanking any sewed thread or anything. And then we're going to start with our set of chains, and we are going to chain 65. Alright, so we got 65 done. We are going to put our hook through the top stitch of the frying pan handle. And I know I'm out of view here, sorry, but we are literally just going into the top stitch right in the middle. You're going to thread that back on, loop that back on, pull it through your top stitch, and then get that loop bigger so that way we can cut and tie off. And you're going to want to make sure you cut off to where you have enough to make a couple knots on the end just to like extra secure it. So same thing on this end, we are going to make some more knots just to extra secure it. And then I take my needle and I just thread it through his body from the top end and then right out the bottom end. So I'm going in on one of those top stitches. Here we go, and then all the way out the bottom. I guess I went out the middle. You can go out wherever. And then you cut it off, cut her off, boom. And that is it. That is your Calcifer Breakfast Bookmark, or your Calcifer Breakfast Rear View Mirror Hanging Buddy. Both look really cute.